Friday the 13th. That's not being thrown because that's 8 discs in there, so that'll just shatter. Has people fixing up Camp Crystal Lake, but someone doesn't want them to open it up, so they start killing everyone there. So now I'm back to horror movies. And just in time for the summer season, I'm going to do the Friday the 13th franchise. So I've already done, before this, Harry Potter, The Hunger Games, and Mad Max for 3-4 months. So now I'm back to horror movies. So now's the perfect time to do the Friday the 13th franchise coming into the summer season. So the positives on this film are some kills are pretty good in the movie. I like Jack's kill of him having an arrow go through his neck from under the bed. It's creative and bloody. I also like Mrs. Voorhees' death of getting decapitated by Alice with Mrs. Voorhees' own machete. So it's actually a really good kill. I like Pamela Voorhees' reveal. I like it when she attacks Alice at the end, and it's intense, and the chase is really good. And the jump scare at the end of the film is one of the best jump scares of all time. You have all this happy music, just hamming it up with the good, feel-good, happy music, and Alice sees the cops. She's on the lake in the boat, and the cops are like, hey, we're here. And then, Alice just gets up from the boat and sees them, and then all of a sudden, the music changes to scary, and Jason just comes out of the lake and pulls her down under into the lake. So that's actually a really effective jump scare. That's probably one of the best jump scares in horror movie history. Now on to the negatives. The characters are unmemorable. They don't stand out. Anywho. Also, Alice isn't really a good final girl. She doesn't overcome anything. She just happens to survive to the end. And I mean, the fight is honestly actually pretty weak between Alice and Pamela. At least even in the Terminator franchise, Sarah Connor changes throughout even just that first movie, and it actually feels like she's taking on the Terminator, because I know she crushes the exoskeleton, the robot of the Terminator, crushes it with something in the factory or whatever, so at least she feels like she actually kind of goes toe-to-toe with the Terminator, but here, the fight is just kind of lame, and that might be because Pamela Voorhees is in her 40s, late 40s, maybe early 50s, so it's just not really that good of a fight, and Alice just really isn't that good of a final girl. She just happens to stay alive to the end of the film, so that's not good. The story in this movie is really weak. It's honestly just a group of teens messing around, getting killed one by one, until the killer is revealed, Some parts of the movie almost seems like a teen comedy, like call out a snake. How do you call out a snake? And Kevin Bacon, I forgot to mention that. Kevin Bacon is in this movie as Jack Burrell. But not that he's really that memorable, honestly, in the movie. I mean, he's memorable because it's he now has a career. But he jumps on the bed and he'll say, I'll flush it out! And just topples over the bed or whatever. And then when the snake is finally killed, one of the girls says, well, now I know what we're having for dinner. And honestly, all of those lines were in that one scene. But, I mean, like, just lines like that, it's just... It feels like a really bad 80s teen comedy. So, it just... So, the story is just meandering, and it's trying to be funny, but it's really not. Also, going along with the story aspect, the mystery is weak because you never ever see Pamela Voorhees in the movie until she's revealed. So honestly, if this was not a famous franchise, and held as a classic movie, I think everyone would criticize that the mystery is terrible. Which I'm honestly saying that right now. I mean, like, regardless if this is a franchise or not, regardless that it does have a franchise, and I already know the reveal, the mystery is just terrible, because you don't, like, there's nothing to point to Pamela is the killer, because she's not in the movie at all until the last 20 minutes of the movie. And then the last negative is, although I said this movie had some good kills, I said some, most of the other kills are really bad. Like when Steve dies, the camp director or whatever, Steve just goes like, "Oh, hi," and like, that's all you see. What I did there, that's all you see. You don't see the killer pull out a knife and stab him. You don't see any blood. It's like, it's just that face of Steve, and that's just not a good kill. There's no blood. Claudette dies via freeze frame, the second kill of the franchise. Barry, the very first kill of the movie, has like a blob of blood on his shirt that he's just holding. So even the very first kill of this franchise, known for having really good, creative, bloody kills, the first kill is like a stabbing, and it's just, there's a patch of blood that he's holding on his shirt, and that's terrible. So, I'd say more often than not, the kills really don't work that well for this movie. So, in the end, this is a mediocre movie. It doesn't do anything spectacular, but it doesn't do anything really overly offensive either. It's, honestly, I don't really think it's a classic. This is a rare movie where this movie in a franchise would not be defaulted to number one. Leprechaun is another franchise. First one, I don't think that's a classic. I don't love that. Harry Potter is one where that's pretty good, but honestly, there's way more movies in that franchise I like more than it. And Mad Max actually, I think, really fumbles on the main premise for setting up the franchise of being the first ove of it. So all of these franchises, Friday the 13th, Leprechaun, Harry Potter to a degree, and Mad Max, have all really stumbled on their first movie in each of their respective franchises. So Friday the 13th is not a classic to me. So that's my review on Friday the 13th. Thanks for watching.